What's up, guys? In today's video, I want to go over a quick question, and that question is, how the heck is all this possible? So when I say how is all of this possible, and when people ask me how the heck is all of this possible, what we're really getting at here is how is it possible to eat more food, to have a higher caloric intake, and get leaner? How is it possible to eat more food and lose more body fat over time? That doesn't make any sense. Extremely valid question, because when you think about it that way, when you only think about it as eating more food to get leaner, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Now, I talked about this in one of my Instagram posts, shameless plug. If you go on the bottom here, you can find out where to follow me on Instagram. But anyway, I posted this on Instagram and I talked about this in one of my posts, but I wanted to make a video going into just a little bit of detail on what I do with my clients at Poehlmann Fitness in order to help you guys get a better idea of how it really is possible to eat more food and get leaner. Now, over the years, we've been told that we have to eat less, and work out more and more in order to lose body fat. Now, that is true for the most part, because muscle, I shouldn't say muscle, just body weight gain or body weight loss in general, for the most part, just comes down to calories in versus calories out. If you're eating less than you burn in a day, you're probably going to lose a little bit of weight. And if you're eating more than you burn in a day, you're probably going to gain weight. Now, there's a bigger piece of the puzzle when it comes to eating more food in order to get leaner. Now, in this post on Instagram, what I did is I kind of laid it out in 3 simple steps, and I kind of want to do that for you guys today as well, so you can get an idea of really what that step-by-step process looks like in order to have clients eat more food and get leaner. So that first thing that we do when clients come to me is assess their food intake. So we look at their food intake over the course of a period of time. I talk about their nutrition history in the past. Usually I have them track about a week's worth of intake just to see what their average caloric intake is, so I can make proper adjustments moving forward. 90 to 95% of the time, I find that people aren't eating enough food and they need to eat more. So usually what we do is I have them eat more food over a certain period of time. So we start out with a higher caloric intake than they've normally been eating, and I distribute that different ways through proteins, carbs, and fats, and then we try to increase that week by week. So then the question then is, how do we increase their food intake week by week, but yet they're still losing body fat? That doesn't make any sense. Well, going into the second piece of this is, what happens is we introduce a resistance training, can't talk today, a resistance training routine into their life. And so they are resistance training, sending a signal to their body that tells them that they need to better utilize the food that they're taking in. So yes, they are eating more food than they were at the start, but that resistance training is allowing their body to use that higher caloric intake in order to build more lean muscle tissue. And the reason we want to do that with most people, no matter what their goal is because the more lean muscle tissue you have, the more calories and the more fuel that you're going to burn at rest. Okay, so it's just going to be more calories burned with less effort. And the better situation you're in when it comes to a higher metabolic rate, the more freedom and flexibility you're going to have in your life. If you're able to burn 3,000 calories in a day at rest, let's just say even 2,000 calories in a day at rest versus burning 1,000 calories in a day at rest, your caloric intake just to maintain your weight is going to be a lot higher. And so you're going to have more freedom to make not better, but just more decisions with the food you want to eat, the foods you want to enjoy in your life. You won't have to feel so restricted. So that second piece is introducing a resistance training protocol to their life, to their workout routine, in order to send a signal to their body to build more lean muscle tissue in order to improve their resting metabolic rate. And then the third piece of that is once we get to a place where their food intake is pretty high and they feel like, they're not sure if they can eat any more food, or if I just feel like it's at a high enough place to where we can slowly take it back down, then we slowly take their intake back down week by week, and we try to get them to maintain the lean muscle tissue that they've worked for. When they're, kind of going back to what I said earlier, when their caloric budget, so to speak, when their metabolic rate is higher, it's going to be a little bit easier to lose fat without feeling as restricted, because you do have to eat less than you're burning in a day in order to lose body fat. So if I can get someone to maintain their weight eating 2,500 calories, it's going to be a lot easier to take food down to, let's say, 2,000, 1,900 calories in order to lose body fat than if the person was maintaining their weight at 1,500 calories and I had to take them down all the way to 1,200 calories in order to lose body fat. That would be absolutely miserable. They wouldn't have any freedom in their food choices. They'd be really restricted because they're eating so little. So in a nutshell, what we really try to do is introduce weight training and introduce a higher caloric intake in order to build their lean muscle tissue. And then with that higher lean muscle tissue, they have a higher metabolic rate, which then gives them more freedom to eat more food as they're cutting down in order to lean up over a period of time. So that's basically what we do at Poehlmann Fitness with most of the clients, and that's where this whole eat more, get leaner concept comes from. So it's not like we're just sitting here and they're sedentary doing the same thing over and they're just eating more food and magically losing weight. There definitely is a detailed, structured process kind of to the madness. So that's what's going on. If you have any questions on how that works in more detail, how it could work in your life, whatever the question might be, any random question, feel free to reach out to me, email, Instagram, Facebook, all of that stuff will be at the bottom. You can go ahead and head to the website as well. I do free consultations for anybody that's interested in looking at what we can do to help them out with their health and fitness goals. So if you have any questions whatsoever, you need some advice, some help, go ahead and reach out to me and I'll be happy to get back to you guys and answer those questions as best as I possibly can. Other than that, I love you guys. Thank you so much for the support and we'll see you guys in the next video.